Playing today's best music. Playing today's best music. Best music. Best music.
iPower 1 HDFM Boston. Online 24/7. And your home for the iPower Evening Show. Speak it loud. 360. Join the conversation now on the iPower Evening Show.
iPower Evening Show.
Good evening, everyone. DeMarco, Ricky, and Stefan in the building. This is Speaking Loud Talk Thursday on the IPES. Now, this is something we most definitely need to talk about if you're black, African American. We're going to talk about the word nigger or nigga. Do these words hurt you, whether if it's hateful or positive as a term of endearment? Now, for me, I will use it a couple times on Facebook, but I really ever use it as I always use the word Negro when some black folks act a fool. I hardly ever use the N-word on these airwaves if I'm addressing our listening audience. Black history is a different story. You can use it in those terms if it involves our history. But back to the N-word on how it's used to bring down an African American if it ends with an ER, and uplifting African Americans if it ends with an A. Now, not all African Americans are on board accepting the N-word, whether positive or negative towards blacks, African Americans. But the word itself has been used for over 460 years. That has a meaningful sting to it that would set off black people when somebody white uses it. Now, Ricky, you use the N-word a lot when we're off the air.
Unfortunately, that is true. I ain't gonna lie to you about that. I hardly ever use it when I'm on the air. Now, in the past, I have used the N-word to some of these Negroes who we had on the phone acting a fool.
Right.
And I know it's hard to let go of that word when it ends with an A.
Yes.
Well, for me, I don't use the word period. When anytime you hear me on my Keeping It Old School, I always use the word Negro as a replacement for the N-word. When anytime somebody African American act a damn fool, I have to call them out.
Right.
I think nobody should be using that word, black, white, whomever.
Right.
Because I know damn well I ain't no N-word whether it ends with an ER or an A.
Right. And ever since Trump ran for president and won, unfortunately, these Trump supporters are out of control. And notice how some of these racist white folks used to say the word nigger under their breath.
Yep.
Now they're saying it loud and freely.
Right.
Like they are entitled to use that word by terrorizing African Americans.
Yeah.
Thus far, some folks are going to jail for pointing guns at black people, calling them the N-word.
Yep.
Some are risking their own jobs, cutting their own throats, putting everything on the line just to use that word to mentally and physically harm African Americans.
Right?
That's right.
And here's where it gets more personal for black people when you're in the public, when you're on public transportation riding through the hood with some racist white folks who think that they can call some black person a nigger in the hood. I mean,
Really?
do you know where you're at saying that?
Right.
I think this happened in New York, somewhere in Brooklyn or Queens. This lady continuously called this black dude the N-word in the hood.
Wow.
And that's what set off this black man and just bitch slapped this white woman so hard, it was the slap heard around the world.
Again, white people who some are racist out there. And this does not apply to all white folks who are not racist.
Yeah.
I'm telling that to our white listening audience. So please do not get offended. We're not talking about you.
No.
We're talking about the racists out there. But those who feel some kind of empowerment to say that word when anytime they feel like it anywhere, if you know you're going through the hood,
Right.
knowing that some of these young black folks are packing with a 9mm
Yep.
or a knife,
Yep.
you cannot just blur out the N-word at a random African American without paying the ultimate price. That can cost you bodily harm or even worse.
Come on.
What is your take on the N-word that ends with an ER or an A? It's Speaking Loud 360. Let's go to the phone lines.
Express your mind.
Clarence, you're next on iPower 1 FM. Go ahead, Clarence.
What's up there, DeMarco, Ricky, and Stefan?
Hey, Clarence, what's going on?
What's going on there, bro?
Hey, brother, what's going on?
All right, for me, I ain't gonna front and act like I don't use the N-word. Yes, I do. Now, it's hard to let go of that word as a term of endearment if that word ends with an A, you feel me?
Right.
What Tupac, KRS-One, or even NWA said, never ignorant, getting goals accomplished. Now, when you take away that power from the white man who has used it against black people for over 450 years with the ER at the end of the N-word. We are the most intelligent, educated black people on the face of this earth that turned that hateful word and made it into something more positive. So that word nigger, N-I-G-G-A, compared to nigger, N-I-G-G-E-R, is more of a greeting to your brother. For an example, oh my nigga, I got love for my nigga. What up, my nigga? You feel me?
Right.
Now, I would not say that to y'all on the radio out of respect. Plus, I've been saying this most of my life, not to demean my people of African Americans, but I know who to use it towards and not who to use it towards when it comes to my boys or to any other African American.
Clarence, can whites use the word with an A out of a term of endearment?
No, they cannot.
And why is that?
Because when Tupac, NWA, or KRS-One made that word nigger, N-I-G-G-A, in my opinion, was meant for black people as a greeting word for my brother. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The word is not meant for white people to use because it could come out the wrong way towards African Americans. You know, that could be homeboys with the white person who tries to use it as a term of endearment.
Well, I'm sorry, my brother. I don't think anybody should be using that word, whether it was racial or term of endearment. Why not call your boys my brothers?
Right.
Now, don't get me wrong. I've been hearing that word most of my life, whether it ends with an A or an ER on both sides.
Right.
But in my opinion, and this is my opinion, I think those words nigger is not only a powerful, hateful word that targets blacks, African Americans, but the word nigger is another form of self-hatred. That's how I see it. I don't care what nobody says.
Well, my brother, I respect your opinion, Stefan, but at the same time, I have to respectfully disagree when it comes to the word nigger as a term of endearment.
I disagree.
Well, everybody, when it comes to African Americans, when it comes to the N-I-G-G-A word being used as a term of endearment, like I said, I myself use the word, and to be honest with you, it's hard to let go.
Right.
But at the same time, on what Clarence just said, there's a time and a place to use the N-word with an A to greet your brother or use it as a term of endearment. Now, I'm not going to say it in front of my mom or my kids, nor say it in front of black people who are giving respect to one another in a professional manner.
Now, I'm guilty of this. I will use the N-word with an A once in a full moon, but my word for black people when they act a fool is Negro, because I use that a lot on my Facebook.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, I'll still use the word brother. Like, what's going on, my brother? What up, my brother? That's better than some African American calling me what up, my nigga.
Come on.
And I damn sure don't want no white person, whether you my friend or a damn racist, calling me my nigga or you effing nigger.
Yeah.
Both of those words are not for white people to use.
I agree with that.
That's just me.
Same thing goes for black people. I see this as a disrespect. I don't want no brother calling me, oh, what up, my nigga, like some damn ignorant Negro.
Right.
I don't care if you my sons, if we were boys growing up, or my best friend.
Right.
If I don't appreciate nor accept a white man calling me nigger, then you as a black man shouldn't be calling me my nigga. To me, it is disrespect, racist, and ignorant.
Right.
And I will not stand for that coming from black and white.
Stefan, can a white man who's your friend call you the term my brother? B-R-O-T-H-A?
Sure he can. That's not a problem for me. I'd rather brother than brother.
Right.
That's a term for black people when you use the word brother with an A. If a white man wants to call me my brother, sure he can. But call me brother with an ER at the end.
Right.
I mean, if we friends and we knew each other for a long time, who are open and like-minded, I don't mind somebody who's Caucasian to call me brother. I don't mind that.
Now, I know some African Americans find it offensive when a white man who is friends with black people, African Americans, calling him my man, like you my friend, you my brother. You don't have an issue of somebody white calling you, hey, Stefan, what up, my man, as best friends.
Well, it's better than calling me the term boy, like what Michael Evans said from Good Times. Boy is a white racist word, and he's right.
Hello. Anyways, the term my man is kind of inappropriate for me to a degree. Not because some may think that's racist, which is not my opinion, but it's how you use it in another term that could be gay related, like he's my boyfriend, which I'm not gay, by the way. And this
we know that.
Don't get me wrong now, this is not an attack on the LGBT.
No.
But I'm just saying, for me, it's how you use the term my man that could sometimes be rubbed the wrong way.
Yeah.
Right. Robert, you're next on iPower 1 FM. Go ahead, Robert.
What going on?
Hey, Robert, what's going on,
Hey, what's
brother?
happening, bro?
Hey, what's going on, bruh?
All right. Yeah, man. I don't feel comfortable with that word. I don't care how the word is pronounced. but I don't want no one for calling me the word nigger. Cause me not no nigger. I was not born a nigger. I was born a black Jamaican.
Come on.
I don't care if you're black, white, brown, red, purple, or green.
That's right.
You can call me your brother, but you're not gonna call me no damn nigger.
Amen.
You sound dirty, rink, and out of order when you say that.
I agree 1,000%, Robert.
Yeah.
I don't want nobody, black or white, to call me a goddamn nigger.
I agree.
I don't care how you use the word. I am your brother.
I agree.
That's all you need to call me.
No hell.
Yes, sir.
Let me talk to you later.
All right, thanks, Robert.
Bye now.
Lamont, you're next on iPower 1 FM. Go ahead, Lamont.
Yo, this is Lamont.
Yes, Lamont, your take.
Now, for me, I don't see a problem with that word, and let me tell you why. I always say, what up, my nigga? And if anybody who doesn't do it my way, or if I'm being screwed by some so-called black people, when it comes to getting a job, I call them a sellout nigga. Cause that's what I call them. Cause we got a bunch of Uncle Tom niggers roaming on our streets.
Lamont, let me ask you a question. Can you walk into a white neighborhood and start calling white people honkies?
No, you cannot.
Oh, okay. Can you walk into a Latino community and call Puerto Ricans spics?
No, you cannot.
Can you walk into a Jewish neighborhood and call somebody a kike? Or go into Chinatown and call Chinese people chinks?
No, you cannot.
So Lamont, wait a minute. Go, Stefan.
If we as black people can't go into their neighborhoods, like the LGBT community, for instance, and call a gay man a faggot, why is it okay for us and others to call black people in our own communities niggers like it's our last name?
There's too many niggas out there that don't see it, nor do it my way.
That don't make any sense.
Or you just a sellout nigga, in my opinion. If I wanted to call somebody a faggot in that
No, you cannot.
LGBT, whatever they call
You can't
it,
say
in
that,
the
Lamont.
community, I can do that.
Lamont, that is hate speech if you walk into an LGBT community and start calling somebody a fag
Right.
just because you don't like their lifestyle or sexual orientation for that matter.
Right.
But why are we as African Americans have to be niggers if we don't see it your way?
Exactly.
That don't make no kind of sense to me.
It does make a lot of sense.
How the hell does that make a lot of sense? You don't even make any
Let me ask you a
sense.
question. Would you call your own black mama a bitch or a hoe?
Well, I would have called my own mama a bitch or a hoe, but most definitely call these black women bitches and hoes.
Really?
What?
So black women are the bitches and hoes, cause they don't
That's
see
the
it your
reason
way,
why.
right?
That's the reason why I said that, because these black women, along with some of these sellout niggas, attacked me because they was goddamn ignorant, calling me a nigger, till this good white man came and saved me from these wretched ass niggas.
You know what?
Who got no goddamn respect for black
That white man who saved you from getting your ass whooped even more should be applauded for saving your black ignorant ass.
And them black
Goodbye,
folks
Lamont.
should have done
Jesus
beat your
Christ.
ass.
Ray Sean, you're next to
Mercy.
iPower 1 FM. Go ahead, Ray Sean. This is
What up,
unbelievable.
DeMarco? What up, Ricky? What up, Stefan?
Hey, Ray Sean, what's
what's
up?
going on,
What's
bro?
going on? Lord
It
have
shows
mercy.
you how the self-hatred within some so-called black men exists. This ridiculous goon, Lamont, is not only irrelevant, but this guy doesn't make no kind of sense whatsoever.
Oh, you
So,
think?
if I don't get my way with you, my brother, I'm gonna call you a sellout nigga. The only self-hating nigga I hear on the phone is Lamont,
Right.
running his effing mouth on our people, our black women, our black queens. So let me get this straight. You wouldn't call your black mama a bitch, but you would rather call these black sisters bitches and hoes?
Makes no kind of
You know what?
sense.
Come say that same to my mother and see what will happen to you or anybody who tries to disrespect my mother.
Right.
Who gave me birth, raised me, gave me all the love as her black son, turned out to be a grown-ass black man.
Come
My
on.
mother's 67 years old, by the way.
God bless
Right
her.
now, Lamont, you are still a little boy who hasn't grown up as of yet because you don't see things your way with our black people.
That's right.
Now, enough about this self-hating coon-ass Negro. I want to talk about this N-word.
Yeah, what is your take on the N-word? Do you use that word as a term of endearment?
For me, I hardly ever use the word. And now I understand what rappers Tupac, Ice Cube, and members of NWA and KRS-One was talking about.
Yeah.
But taking that original word, nigger, that ended with an ER, used by white slave owners for 450 years, through kidnapping of black Africans, being chained and brought on slave ships, stacked like a bunch of sardines, being dropped off in South America, the West Indies, and brought to America. Our people were raped, whooped, set on fire, murdered, shot, lynched as these white racist crackers, calling us the word nigger throughout slavery, throughout Jim Crow, and still being called a nigger by these white white racist pricks to this day who are white racist Republicans, some white Democrats, and of course Trump supporters. Stephon, I'm with you, my brother.
Yes, sir.
Along with the other brother who called in, Robert.
Yeah.
As raw people calling each other nigger, that ends with an A, as a proud black man living in America, I oppose that word when our young black brothers use it towards each other as a term of endearment, and no white person under any circumstances should be using the N-word.
Right.
I don't care if you're my boy or we've been best friends since the first grade. I don't want nobody, black, white, brown, anybody, calling me the N-word, whether it was used in a racial term towards black people or using it as a term of endearment. It is racist, self-ignorance, self-hate, and blatant disrespect. Call me your brother. That's all I want from my people. Self-love, self-respect.
Yes.
Peace, my brothers.
Later,
All right,
brother.
thanks, Ray Sean. We appreciate that. All right, text your mind here on SIL 360. Pauline from Queens, New York writes, I'm totally against anybody using the N-word, whether black or white. Some African Americans feel that way too, Pauline. I don't blame you for not using it. Lawrence Ford, 55, from the ATL writes, I don't ever use that word. It is racist when a white man uses it, and it's ignorant and self-hate when a black man uses it. Lawrence Ford, 55, you old school. I can understand where you're coming from. Mr. Bostock, 857, from Dorchester, Massachusetts writes, brother, I know it's wrong to use the N-word, but I only use the word when some black folks act a damn fool, which they have no business doing.
Yep.
Yeah, Mr. Bostock, 857, I understand where you're coming from on that.
Right.
We do got a bunch of damn fools who act a fool and act coonish.
Yeah.
Sometimes you want to say N-word, please.
That's
I'm
what
not going to say
saying.
it. But anyway.
Lamont from Detroit, Michigan writes, the N-word is always offensive to me, whether it ends with an A or an ER. It should be banned, period. Well, Lamont from Detroit, Michigan, the majority of black people do want that word banned, but you know what? As long as it's making money, making huge millions of dollars, even billions of dollars in these record companies, it's not going anywhere no time soon.
Unfortunately.
Danny Donovan from South Boston writes, so let me get this straight. It's okay for these black kids with filthy mouths calling each other the N-word, but white kids can't use it as a term of endearment. Double standard.
What?
Danny Donovan from South Boston.
What an ass.
You know damn well, when white people use that N-word, it's not N with an A, it's N with an ER.
Right.
Go back to the civil rights era, where you see these white teens and adults throwing up their middle fingers towards black people protesting against Jim Crow, calling them you effing nigger, because I know damn well they wasn't saying nigger, they were saying nigger.
Right.
Meaning racial hatred behind that word.
That's right.
Not a term of endearment. Are you serious?
And how soon we forget Danny Donovan from South Boston, where that word was used quite often during the 70s, the 80s, the 90s. They don't use it now like they used to, where black people and Latinos were not allowed in South Boston.
Right.
And to this day, some black people are still not allowed in places in South Boston. I'm sorry.
Well, that depends where.
Even if they have the Seaport District?
Even if they have the Seaport District, it may not be racist down there, but go deep into the communities of Southie.
Yep.
Them racists are still there.
Yeah, and they want to jump on Michael Shea from Saturday Night Live saying that I want to come to this racist city like Boston.
Right.
I mean, why would he lie about that? He ain't lying.
No, of course not.
Kenny Ford, 65, from Hartford, Connecticut writes, I don't like that word, and I don't like it when my grandchildren use that word. It's not all right to be self-ignorant. Yeah, I hear you, bruh. I hear you.
Proud Jamaican Tony from Dorchester, Massachusetts writes, I don't like to hear that word at all. None of my family uses that word. Too much wickedness in that word. I hate it. I'm with you on that, brother. I'm with you on that all the way.
Incoming message.
Mr. Brown from Roxbury, Massachusetts.
Another
What this
one.
Negro gonna say? These black kids that uses the N-word learned it from their parents because they used it to express their self-hatred like a bunch of niggers.
This guy's a hypocrite.
Lord
telling
have
me?
mercy. Well, a so-called brother like you, Mr. Brown, a Republican and a Trump supporter, and being a hypocrite to black people you don't give a damn about. Sometimes I wonder if you act like a nigger sometimes. Lord. And Brother Malik, 69, from Harlem, New York, writes, whatever happened to what's happening, my brother, or how you doing, my sister? The word nigger or nigger has no place in the mouths of racist white devils, nor in the mouths of black men and women. You ain't gonna get no arguments out of me on that. I agree, my brother.
So what's the lesson of the story in all of this?
The lesson of the story is, if you black, African American, white, or Hispanic, knowing some of us who uses the N-word with an A as a term of endearment, or racist white supremacists, or Trump supporters using the N-word with an ER as a term for racist hatred based on a person's skin color, The word nigger is a powerful word that has a history of racial hatred behind it. For 450 years, when black people were kidnapped from Africa, locked in chains on slave ships and made slaves in America, parts of South America and the Caribbean, or being lynched, buried alive, shot by racist white or rogue law enforcement, some with their hands up. Rappers back in the day like NWA, Tupac, KRS-One changed the word from nigger to nigga, meaning never ignorant, getting goals accomplished, currently being used in some of these hip-hop songs as we speak. Sometimes it's okay to express the power of the N-word with an A as a term of endearment, but at the same time, the N-word is not always appropriate in the public, whether it ends with an A or an ER.
Lesson learned. You need to stop using the N-word in this radio station when we're off the air. You and Raphael. Ridiculous. He's Puerto Rican and sometimes uses it.
No.
Hey, I use the word Negro. That's close enough.
Come on.
All right, thanks, Rick. Shout outs to iPower2 on our YouTube channel. Keyword, iPower1 Nation. Thank you for listening to us.
iPower 98.9 is now New York City.
New York City.
Subscribe now to our YouTube channel. Keyword, iPower1 Nation. Listen to our shows weeknights now in the tri-state area. Take us anywhere. Listen online or on app. Listen on your Android phone, iPhone, or iPad. Listen now in the NYC. Go to iPower1FM.com for 98.9.